Hello, I'm Raimonds Simanovskis, CEO and founder of eazyBI, and I wanted to share with you our experience with building AI assistants. So at first, if you don't know, eazyBI is a top Atlassian Marketplace app for business intelligence, for data analysis, visualization, and with standard Jira and Confluence integration. And as our name says, we are a BI company, business intelligence company, but nowadays everyone is speaking about different letter acronym, AI. And so we were thinking, how to use these new technologies to enhance experience of our users. And one of the inspirations was that we were seeing that AI and language models are quite good for generating from user questions to SQL. And for example, if you would ask, show created versus resolved issues by month in last 12 months, so LLMs could generate you a nice SQL, which hopefully retrieves what you need. And if you do not know SQL, so you probably will trust it and that what you need. But if you know SQL, so you might notice that in this case, so it aggregates all the issues just by their creation date, and also the resolved issues will be shown by their creation date. And that's probably not what you really need. And so therefore we thought that in our case we have a better business data layer about measures and dimensions, and we thought that they would better match user questions to the analytical queries that we can build. And so that's therefore we started, and so during the last year, so we built several AI assistants that help users at first to build eazyBI reports. So they can ask the same question, show created versus resolved issues by month in last 12 months as a vertical bar chart. And they will get the response with a report definition generated in JSON format. So here is collapsed, but they can load it and preview it and see results. And in this case, so that we think would be exactly what they meant. Then we have also more advanced functionality in eazyBI, how you can write calculation formulas using MDX query language, which not all of the users know, and therefore there it's helpful to have the assistant where they can ask that they would like to get such formula, and it can generate the formula, and then they can use it and test it. As well as during the data import, users can, or admins can manipulate the data that are imported with custom JavaScript code, and where they can ask that they would like to create, for example, some additional calculated field using JavaScript code, and we'll get the JavaScript code what they can use. And LLMs are especially good at generating and understanding JavaScript. So how do these our assistants work? And so at first, when the users are sending the prompt, what they would like to see, for example, show issues created versus resolved by month in last 12 months. So at first, we do the initial classification of the prompt, and we have some categories. So either it's report definition, or they would like to explain some standard measure, or they are just doing general documentation search. And based on this classification, we do some different further actions. So if it's a report definition, then we do the knowledge search by similarity to the prompt. And at first, we inject different metadata regarding the current user context. What are the measures and dimensions available in their data cube that could be used? As well as we have a lot of sample reports which match some hypothetical user question to the generated report definition in a JSON format. And then we inject in the context top matching sample reports. As well as we have a vast documentation with a lot of different examples and descriptions, and then we do the similarity search in our documentation, and we find the documentation page fragments which match the user question, and we inject that into the prompt. And then using the templates, we build the LLM instructions with some standard text, plus we inject these knowledge data. And then we send it to LLMs And we have built adapters that we can test different LLMs. So initially we experimented with OpenAI, with Google Gemini. But currently we get the best results from the Anthropic Claude 3.5 Sonnet model, and that we use in our case. And we get the response from the LLMs. We then process the answer. We fix some known errors, format the JSON and MDX responses, and then send the result back to the user, and where they can see it. So a couple of things that we recommend our users how to use assistants efficiently and to get better results. At first, as everyone knows, LLMs can mistakes, they can hallucinate, so always test the result that you get and whether it really is what you need. Also, unfortunately, LLMs can't read your mind, and so you need to tell them exactly what you would like to get and better tell them more. Sometimes some users might think that these are consultants, that they have worked for many years and they will already, from a couple keywords, will know what you need, but unfortunately not yet. So therefore it's better use full sentences, use clarifications, examples, what you would like to get. Also, LLMs see only what you share with them. In our case, we explicitly tell that we share some metadata about some measures dimensions that you use, and then what you send to them. So we don't send to LLMs any data of Jira issues or projects that they have, unless they explicitly tell that. Also, sometimes if you don't get the right result, you try to ask it more and more, and you get very long conversation threads, and sometimes it might start getting even worse. So sometimes it's better start from the scratch, okay, and reformulate what you really need in a new conversation thread. And currently we remind that so AI assistants are available all the time, but our support is still smarter, and then please ask our support if you can't manage to get the answers from the assistants. And then, so if you want to build efficient assistants or raw agents or any other AI-based solutions, what would be our recommendations? So at first, I'd recommend start learning prompt engineering. So for me as a software engineer, so initially, it felt like a black magic. So is it really an engineering? And so I was quite skeptical some 2 years ago. But I would really encourage, so just start playing with it. And what you need to get is you need to build your intuition. So what you can do with LLMs and what you can't, and so what are the prompts that work and what are not, and you can just get it over time. So try just to play with it and understand whether it works or not, and that changed my opinion about LLMs as well. Also, try different leading LLMs. So also when I tried initially, or initially everyone I was just talking about OpenAI and ChatGPT. But during the last year, so there is a vast majority of different models which are all top leading models. And so try also Google Gemini, try Anthropic models, and nowadays so there are a lot of open source models like Llama from Meta or DeepSeek from Chinese, etc. So there's a vast majority of very good models, and you might get different results. So when you are building some prompts or solutions, do with small changes, and so change something, see whether it works, test results, whether it works, track some changes in so that you can return back to the previous prompt, so use either any change tracking system. Also, it's very valuable if you can review the real conversation threads of the users. So one thing, so when you test something, so when you know how to use them and what results you will get, and when you see how actual users will use that, so then it's totally different thing. And unfortunately, quite many users, what we see, they are still just trying to use it as a Google, or just not very good at explaining what they need. And so it's better to optimize also for those cases. And LLMs are best at pattern matching. So if you, and quite often the best way is just to provide relevant examples that for this case, for such a question, there's such answer. For such question, such answer. And then LLMs are very good at this similarity matching and pattern matching and creating new results instead of just theoretically describing what you want. And then, so LLMs have read all the internet, all the Wikipedia, Stack Overflow, etc., but they don't have much knowledge about your business-specific data. And even if you have some public documentation on the internet, probably they haven't seen them enough. So therefore, to get the best results, you need to inject a lot of your business-specific knowledge into the context. And so therefore, it's good to use these techniques like retrieval augmented generation to inject the business-specific knowledge. So I want to go through some instruction examples from our system prompts that we use. So at first, we start with setting some role that you are a report builder assistant. So we tell that responds just to inquiries about creating eazyBI reports. But please remember, so there will be always some ways how to hijack that and get something out of the system prompt that you don't want to see. So therefore, assume that anything that you put in the system prompt might be revealed, and don't put their confidential data that the current user shouldn't see. So set some tone, how you want to respond. LLMs are very good even if you provide just instructions in English to use any other top language of the world. So we see a lot of users are using it in French, in German, in Brazilian Portuguese, and it's very good how you can provide international support. I would recommend the Anthropic documentation about this prompt engineering, so they have really good examples, and so that's, I think, one of the best examples what I would recommend. Then for report definition instructions, so we describe what is our JSON format. And so there we use just also plain language describing that this object has these properties and it should have such values. We have tried to use some more specific JSON schemas, but they work not so good. So it's better just to describe what are the properties, provide examples, and then you can get quite good results. Then we provide these metadata, so what are dimensions available, measures, etc. available. And there, that was a recommendation by Anthropic, but useful for others as well, to enclose them in XML tags. So that's very good delimiters, what LLMs understand. And so nowadays, XML is reborn again in LLM instructions, so it's quite good for that. And then, we, as I mentioned, so we use this retrieval augmented generation, and then we inject examples enclosed within these example tags, or we inject documentation page fragments within these documentation tags. And then we also tell about some, suggest this chain of thought, how they should review the user's report description. Then we tell that please provide your internal thinking process within these thinking tags, which we then hide from the final response. But we as admins can review that and to understand and debug and improve whether it provides the results that we need. And as well, we provide different these functions or tools which are similar to robo actions. They can look up some dimension members, etc. So initially, we launched our assistants for Jira and Confluence Cloud apps. But then, a couple of months ago, we launched them also for our data center apps. And so how we do that, we have these assistants available in our cloud service. But from our data center apps, admins can enable that they want to use these assistants. And then it registers with our cloud service, gets some secret keys. And then they can get available assistance. Users can send their message, get the response. So if there are some function calls necessary, so then it's sent back, executed remotely, sent back, and we provide the final response. And from the user's perspective, they practically get the same experience. And users, and now we are having a lot of users are using it both in the cloud and as well as in our DC apps. And finally, so I wanted to summarize some of the recommendations for row agents and API improvements, and probably some of the reasons why we currently don't use row agents for all of that. Well, at first, it would be better in row agents that you could have more control of LLMs used. As currently, so historically we know that so Atlassian is using OpenAI, and so probably it will be some GPT-4, GPT-4o, but now they're saying they might use some other models. And what we have seen that, well, so results might differ quite a lot. And even when we upgraded from Anthropic Claude 3.5 to 3.5 version 2, yeah, so we started to get different results. And so if you don't have this ability to test it and adapt your prompts to that, so and also adapt such parameters like temperature, so it's hard to create good, reliable agents. It will be so currently these instructions are static in the forge descriptor, so it would be better that it could be generated more dynamically, as in our case, so we store these templates and we track the changes, so we don't need to do the redeployment. So so if for any small change you need to do a new version, so it's harder to do it more iteratively. Yeah, it would be better to have some more control of context retrieval from Jira, Confluence, other external sources, and what exactly is injected there. So as currently you don't see the final prompt with all the context data that is sent to the LLM, and so you don't know whether if the answer was bad, so was there information in the prompt that could be used to get the answer, or whether it wasn't. So it's hard to understand that. As well, it would be very valuable to get some API for doing semantic search of Jira, Confluence, and other content. For example, nowadays we do by ourselves. We scan our documentation in Confluence, and we chunk it, and we do semantic indexing of that. Would be better if we could use some Jira and Confluence APIs for that. And as well, so I think that from the user's perspective, so they might get quite confused that now you have in row a list of different agents, and then you need to select the right one. I think it would be better, so how we do that in each specific UI case, so there's just one assistant available, targeted for that task, and then it's much easier for users to understand it, and instead of selecting always the right agent. So, finally, also some logging and reviewing of user conversations when they are opted in, so to do debugging and improving the results. So that was the summary from my side, and thank you for attention. And if you have any questions, I would like to answer them. Thank you.